Well, great to be back on Sabian Media Sports Extra on YouTube. And like I always do, it always ready to serve you the best of sporting content. On today's show, we'll be doing throwback with regards to the Ghana Premier League. And we'll be looking at one footballer who was a delight to watch in the Ghana Premier League. He was in his elements in the early 2000s and he was on the books of Accra Hasselhoff, one of the few players to play for Accra Hasselhoff and Kumasi Asante Kotoko. I guess you know that player I'm talking about. It's in the person of Charles Kweku Asampon Bismarck Barnier, the man nicknamed Terror Taylor. Yeah, Charles Taylor. We'll be looking at Charles Taylor and how he really convinced some of us that he was a demigod in the Ghana Premier League. Do want to subscribe to Sabian Media Sports Extra on YouTube for the best of sporting content. Now, for Charles Taylor, he was one hell of a footballer. He was that good. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to raise the bar too much for Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor was Taylor. Yeah. Obi bisa me say other in Charles Taylor na opam atade hyehyɛ amanfo park ne so ana. Excuse me. Na opempam atade ma amanfo ana. I mean you yeah, no opam. Yeah. Or the ball no na pam. Hyehyɛ amanfo. Now for Charles Taylor, he was born in Seville, yeah, in the Western region, and he moved to Accra. He was in Accra because of football, yeah. So he was in Accra, and as a young boy, he was not ready to put the football somewhere. Charlie Taylor was all about football, so everywhere that Taylor went, his football was with him. So he was not that type of boys who moved to Accra and they'll be doing those side jobs, mate kakra, way kakra, and eventually will drop the football. No, Taylor was not like that. The football was always with Charles Kweku Asampon Bismarck Barnier Taylor. Normal kika, some story be that Taylor was a shoe shine boy, but I've heard him debunk that story that he was never a shoe shine boy in Accra. I've heard him debunk that story, but that is the popular line in Charles Taylor's hustle or struggle in Accra, and he finally joined Good Olympics. And before joining Good Olympics, he had to play 1 or 2 trial matches for Good Olympics, and he was able to convince the authorities at Great Olympics that he was such a fine footballer. With some nyama boot to be, no be correct boot. With some nyama boot to be bad, that should tell you that Taylor had the talent and he was the best. So Great Olympics had no option than to sign Charles Kweku Asampon Bismarck Barnier Taylor. In 2000, Taylor made that move from Great Olympics to Accra Hasselhoff, and he was part of Hasselhoff's 64 battalions. Charlie, the Ghana Army, it be the 64 battalions where then the warrior then they form. Yeah, it be the 64 battalions where then they form. So Taylor was part of that great Hasselhoff team who were nicknamed the 64 battalions. Won the CAF Champions League in 2000, won the Ghana Premier League on multiple occasions for Accra Hasselhoff. Yeah, and some people don't know this, that in 2002, Charles Taylor as a winger alongside Bernard Donbotti, they picked up the Golden Boot with 18 goals. Yeah, both players scored 18 goals as wingers, so not as strikers. So this should give you an indication as to how good Charles Taylor was as a footballer. When it comes to his style of play, Taylor could do the unthinkable. Dribbling be what? He had it so easy. It was more of innate. Charles Taylor could really dribble, and he could also show both as well, put on a show. So you will not go to the stadium as a supporter and Charlie, on your way home, at least you would have something to talk about or have a conversation on in the bus or on your way home. Definitely, Taylor will give you something that, Charlie, if you did walk from the stadium to the house staff because of his skill, how mesmerizing he was as a footballer, Charlie, that thing would do your head inside. You go feel walk from Osu to Teshi or Ashaman. That was how good Charles Taylor was as a footballer. But he was also one of the few players who played about 80% of his football in Ghana. Yeah, I think he played for Etoile Sahel and one other foreign club, but about 90% of his football was in Ghana. Now, in 2003, Charles Taylor did the unthinkable. He used to do the unthinkable on the pitch. But this time round, the unthinkable happened in the transfer world. And Taylor made that audacious, ridiculous move from Accra House of Folk to Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And what was his reasons? He was one of the poster boys in the Accra House of Folk team. So the fans were not expecting it. It's more of a key player of Manchester United joining Manchester City, or key player of Barcelona joining Real Madrid. It was unheard of. But see, life, Charlie, whatever we do, it be the money we did here. And Kotoko had money, yeah. The offer Kotoko presented was so difficult to resist. So Taylor had no option than to join Kumasi Asante Kotoko. In fact, he was on the negotiation table with Accra House of Folk. They promised him that they will give him land, they will give him this amount of money. And Taylor waited the money and all, the land too and all. And Kotoko came in strongly, managed to secure Charles Taylor. Eventually, that transfer issue has to be settled by the authorities of Ghana football. And looking at the amount involved, close to 40,000 Ghana cedis currently. Yeah, per the CD rate or the CD that we are using now, 40,000 Ghana cedis for Charles Kwekwa Sampon Bismarck, Barney Taylor, the terrible terror. Yeah, that was the amount that Asante Kotoko paid. And you know, Kotoko were really struggling. Kotoko, they were finding it difficult to win the Ghana Premier League. But the moment Charles Taylor landed, Charlie, end of the season, Kotoko had the Ghana Premier League trophy. So they knew what they were doing. So Charlie, Asante Kotoko, they go see some medicine man, be where he talk them, say the Ghana Premier League, they know they win, no. Make them go Accra House of Folk team, then pick one of their poster boys. They do that thing, then go end House of Folk's winning run when it comes to the Ghana Premier League, because Has had won the league, I think 6 times on the bounce consecutively. And Kotoko did that, and they managed to end the dominance of Accra House of Folk when it comes to winning the Ghana Premier League. So the 2003 season ended, 2003-04 season, and Kotoko won the Ghana Premier League. And of course, Taylor did not only win the Champions League with Accra House of Folk, he also won the Super Cup, Ghana Premier League multiple times. Joined Asante Kotoko, won the Ghana Premier League, and he also finished as runner-up. And that be the revenge, you may kiss the cup. Yeah, that be the revenge where Accra House of Folk take give Charles Taylor. He scored in the return match in Kumasi and Coach Abenkwan, Hans Deta Schmidt. We all don't know what really happened to the coach, and he sacked his best player, and Accra Folk equalized, penalties. Joseph Hendricks and co went the ball in the hands of Sani Mohammed, and that was some sweet revenge from Accra Folk to Charles Taylor. Moving on, Taylor joined Etoile Sportive du Sahel around 2010, I think 2006, 2007, thereabout. I think he was back to relaunch his career in Ghana, joined Accra Folk, won the Ghana Premier League again, and later on he joined Bekum Chelsea. Because of injuries, Taylor was compelled to retire. He retired very, very, very early. Charles Taylor retired very, very early. And that was the end of the magical, I call him the magical, Charles Kwekwa Sampon Bismarck Barney Taylor. I would like to hear from you your favorite Charles Taylor moment in the Ghana Premier League. Your favorite or your finest Charles Taylor moment. Me, my own be some match be way Kotoko versus I think Ashanti Good or so. Some yeah. If he, Kotoko Ashanti Good or Kotoko Kingfisher, he's Charles Taylor scored one wicked free kicking from nowhere. From nowhere, the ball was at the back. The ball was at the back of the net, and that time too, he had some Congo B Charlie serious terror, serious terror. You know the joke, Charlie. You know the joke. Like you get the ball, you know how then they weave, how then they weave, Charlie. Taylor and Dumbo thing. They were our own version of Cristiano Ronaldo and Ronaldinho. Taylor was Taylor. Yeah, so that is the throwback on one of the legends of the Ghana Premier League, nicknamed the Terrible Terror, of real name Charles Kweku Asampong Bismarck Barney. Yeah, Charles the Terrible Terror Taylor. Let me hear from you your finest Charles Taylor moment in the Ghana Premier League. And do what subscribe to Saban Media Sports History on YouTube for the best of sports and content. Have a wonderful day.